I just want to win. I want to win trophies. I just want to win. I don't think there's a day that goes past where I'll wake up and think I want to win something. I want to win the Premier League.
It is well documented, actually more than well documented, that Tottenham haven't won the Premier League since 1961. That's even closer to World War I than it is to 2022. Perhaps equally as embarrassing is the fact that they've bottled several sizable opportunities to win a trophy in the past decade, most notably only finishing second to a Leicester City side in the 15-16 season who, despite crushing it on the field, were not as good on paper as the traditional Big Six teams. And that was the last time Spurs were serious title contenders. Fast forward to today, there's finally a real feeling of optimism following the club's turnaround under Antonio Conte last season, with the illustrious Italian manager arriving in November to guide a struggling side who found themselves at 9th place into the Champions League. With one of the most promising summer transfer windows so far, who's to say Spurs won't reach higher highs next season? Are Tottenham genuine title contenders in 2022-23? Let's discuss this and more in today's video. In Conte, Spurs boast a manager with one of the best resumes in European football, having won league titles in 5 of his last 7 full seasons as a manager, across 2 different leagues and with 3 separate clubs. It's easy to see why people are so captivated by his stature. When Conte took over at Juventus in 2011, they had just finished in 7th for a successive season. You might think that this was just a merely 1 or 2 season hiccup for them, except it wasn't. The team that Conte inherited was not the mighty Juventus of now, but the wounded beast still recovering from the match-fixing scandal that rocked Italian football and saw them relegated to Serie B with a 6-point deduction. In stepped Conte, the return of the club's former captain and fan favourite, and with it, new expectations for big things to come. Immediately, he made clear to the players that they were simply not good enough for his high-minded ambitions. In hindsight, it makes sense that Conte's 2-year spell in charge of Italy didn't work out spectacularly. After all, he is an all-or-nothing manager, a coach who gets results by demanding every last drop of effort from his players. But you can't shape your players into a system by only meeting a few times a year. But perhaps the closest parallel to his current venture at Tottenham was his stint at another London-based club, Chelsea. On the back of a disastrous 10th place finish the prior season, Conte's arrival at Stamford Bridge in 2016 instantly transformed the side that would go on to win the title the next season, with 2 games to spare and winning 30 out of 38 league games, which was a Premier League record at the time. Whether you like or hate him, you have to applaud his ability to skyrocket teams at the get-go. At the core of the squad still remains the bones of a side that once challenged for the Premier League title and reached a Champions League final, but they will need reinforcements if they're to challenge for the title this season. Conte has made no secret of his desire for Spurs to match his own trophy-winning ambitions. He's not interested in a rebuild. Instead, he wants to win something now with a system of ready-made players that will take the team to the next level. Otherwise, he's off. The experienced Fraser Forster and Ivan Perisic have arrived on free transfers to add depth in key areas, while the arrival of Bissouma from Brighton gives them extra quality in the midfield. And of course, the highlight of the window so far has been the £60 million transfer of Richarlison from Everton to provide depth up front. And looking at the losses Tottenham suffered under Conte in the second half of last season, their main weakness was not the bigger teams whom they could launch counter-attacks against, but those who press smartly or defend with a low block. For this reason, I think a traditional number 8 is needed to unlock these tight defenses and pose a goal threat from midfield. Only then will Spurs pick up the valuable 3-pointers that were so elusive to them last season. When Conte speaks, his words assault you. They crash through the doors of your mind often quite violently and settle deep within you. I've lost track of the number of times I found myself saying, hell, Conte said something really spot on again today. Those were the words of Andrea Pirlo in his book, I Think, Therefore I Play, that conveyed just how assertive Conte was in his team management. But there are more depths to his management than just barking out orders. This could not be more true in the cases of Romelu Lukaku and Ivan Perisic. With Lukaku, Conte instilled a winner's mentality into the Belgian, who went from a struggling Man United striker into a title winner and near £100 million player in the 2 seasons at Inter. As for Perisic, It's fair to say relations between him and Conte didn't begin well when they first met at Inter. Upon his arrival in May 2019, Conte had told Perisic, who was the club's second highest scorer in the previous season, that he had to learn to defend. To Perisic's credit, he tried. He worked on his defensive positioning, his tracking back, and his tackling. But Perisic didn't believe he could do it, and Conte sent him away on loan to Bayern Munich. A season later, Perisic returned to Italy a Champions League winner and a Bundesliga winner, and had played 35 games and scored 8 goals and assisted 10. Yet, Conte was far more impressed by his newfound defensive application than any trophies. After Perisic arrived back to become a pivotal part in Inter's title-winning season, Conte said he was pleased that the player was ready to, quote-unquote, put himself at the service of the team. Now, Perisic's reunion with Conte at Tottenham is a telling example of the curious devotion Conte demands from his players. Most players discarded in the way Perisic had been would not have jumped at the prospect of working under the same manager again. But despite being one of this summer's most sought-after out-of-contract players, Perisic chose Conte. And when players submit to Conte's teams, they tend to win trophies. There's no denying that it would take a monumental effort from any club to overtake Man City and Liverpool at the rate that they're going. But if there's anyone who could fire Spurs into the unlikeliest of league triumphs, then that would be Conte. Do you think that Spurs has what it takes to be champions this season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.